Hey, this is Coach Woolley, the Holistic Trainer, and this is a demonstration of the ankle from rotation. FORM is an acronym that stands for full range of motion, and this is a very important exercise for enhancing the mobility of your ankle. I find oftentimes that when people consider the range of motion of their ankle, they only focus on stretching the calf muscle, and they miss out on this crucial element of rotation that occurs in the ankle. Now, this exercise can be done sitting on the ground, as I'll demonstrate, as well as sitting in a chair, at the edge of your bed, and even lying flat down on your back. I'm going to demonstrate first here sitting on the floor. Now, when we're doing this motion, it will look similar to other ankle rotation exercises, but what's often seen when people do this sort of movement is the rotation is very floppy, I'll describe it, uncontrolled, just kind of habitual, just rolling the ankle around. And when you do it under control and with intention, you get a much better effect and actually enhance your mobility and the strength of the ankle much more. Now, if it's difficult, I actually usually suggest lifting the ankle to allow for further range of motion, but if it's difficult to keep your leg in the air, you can start with your heel on the floor like so. And I'm going to give you two cues to consider. One is you want to move your foot around as if you're either drawing a box with the front of your foot, like so, or drawing a circle with your foot. One thing we want to focus on when we're doing this is not allowing motion to occur above the ankle where my knee is moving, or my hip is moving, turning in and out, my leg is moving side to side. I want to keep everything above that ankle relatively stable, so it can be helpful to kind of place your hands against your knees like so, to allow you to really feel that all the motion is coming from the ankle. So it's not a big motion, it's not a big floppy motion, it's very controlled and rather small. So I start by holding my foot down. I'm going to flex my ankle up towards me, then I'm going to bring it down away from me, pointing my toes. Turn my toes to the right, bring my toes up, turn my toes to the left, bring them back down, and then I'll repeat in the opposite direction. I pull my toes up, turn my toes out, push my toes away, turn my toes in, and that would be an example of the box drawing. Now, the rotation that looks more like a circle would look like so, where it's a little bit smoother, and it's more of a circular motion rather than a box. Again, I want to go both directions. And what you may find is that one direction or specific positions in this motion is more difficult than the other. So look at what your program calls for, and if you notice that one direction is more difficult or maybe one specific area is more difficult, you're going to want to spend more time in that region. So let's say doing the rotation by moving out to the right like so feels pretty smooth, but then when I go the opposite way, it's a little bit tighter, a little more difficult. I'm going to do extra reps in this direction. And now let's also say that this region here where my toes are turned in is fairly smooth, but when my foot starts to go out and I try to bring it up and down, it's a little bit tighter. You're going to spend extra time in that vicinity, that region. Now, as you progress and you get stronger, you should work on being able to do this with your leg up off the floor. I find it helpful to interlace the hands and help lift your thigh up so you're not fatiguing your leg. And the motion stays the same, where I'm drawing either the box, making a box, going in both directions, or making the circle and going in both directions. But you'll notice that my leg is fairly still. It's not turning. My hip isn't moving in and out. All the motion is occurring down at the ankle. And then when you're done on one side, you've performed all the reps prescribed, you're going to repeat on the other leg. Now, just as before, if you notice that there's a difference between the two sides, you're going to want to do more repetitions on the more difficult side. If you're doing it in a chair, It will look very similar. You can start with level 1 with your foot staying on the floor, doing your rotations, and then progress to lifting your leg up and performing it with your foot off the floor. And as I said earlier, you can also do this lying down in your bed or on the floor at home. But this is a very important exercise, and this is how you perform the ankle from rotation.